A very good evening. You're watching India Today. I'm Nabila Jamal right here from Bengaluru's Kanteerava Stadium. This is exactly where Puneeth Rajkumar's body has been placed here, right at the Kanteerava Stadium. There are thousands, a ocean of supporters, fans rather, who've come in from far and wide across Karnataka, who have landed only to take a last glimpse and bid farewell to Puneeth Rajkumar. It's of course quite upsetting. The man was a mega star, a superstar, gone too soon, barely at the age of 46. Puneeth Rajkumar succumbed to a fatal cardiac arrest. He passed away, he in fact collapsed right when he was working out in the gym last morning. He was rushed to Vikram hospital and he was brought unresponsive. It's highly unfortunate because you have the entire state of Karnataka in the mode of mourning. In fact, the state has now decided to carry out his funeral tomorrow with entire state honours. There's a huge rush inside. I'm not going to enter, but I'm going to take you through all those visuals right here in this package.
Sandalwood mourns actor Puneeth Rajkumar's death. Karnataka's power star's untimely demise has left his fans in shock and disbelief. His friends across the industry find it hard to believe that their fittest colleague has left them so soon.
It's like blank ho gaya. Blank ho gaya. Full blank ho gaya. I don't know what to say. Very tough.
I remember Appu being really happy. And just not from the outside, but from the inside. So when something like that happens to a person like that, I think it's tragic. For me, I think it would be very difficult to digest it till I actually see.
Celebrities are flying to Bengaluru to pay their last respects to the Kannada superstar.
He's such a, fitness guy. He's the most fittest in the Kannada film industry. And I really don't know what happened and how it's such a horrible day.
Puneeth's mortal remains have been kept at Kanteerava Stadium for his admirers to catch a last glimpse of their beloved hero. Actor's funeral procession will begin from Kanteerava Stadium to Kanteerava Studio, which is next to his father's memorial.
Now, fans from across the state have been pouring into the stadium non-stop. And it's not just his fans, but also celebrities from across South India have been flying into the city to pay their last respects and meet his family members. All this while security has been heightened in the city and the situation is extremely peaceful, keeping in mind the large number of people coming into Bengaluru.
The actor's last rites will be performed with full state honours on Sunday. One of his daughters reached Bengaluru on Saturday to support his inconsolable wife. Tributes are pouring in after superstar Rajkumar's son breathed his last at Vikram Hospital on Friday after severe cardiac arrest.
He was a proactive otherwise in social media and social works also. It was so shocking. And such a sorrow. Yeah, certainly state will miss him, cinema will miss him, sandalwood will miss him, and especially youths will miss him.
People of Karnataka have lost a potential and talented artist in Kannada film industry. It's a great loss to the film industry.
The Bengaluru police have directed all the liquor shops to remain closed for 2 nights as a precautionary measure amidst high security arrangements in the city.
The whole bandobast security arrangements are throughout the city. So the total deployment is something around 6,000, and because of that we have deployed staff in shifts, and throughout the night the same bandobast has continued.
An all-rounder actor gone too soon. Appu might no longer be with us, but his legacy lives on. With Nabila Jamal, Nolan Pinto and Pratibha Raman in Bengaluru, Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, there you saw it, a notion of fans that have come by from all across Karnataka only to take a last glimpse of Appu. It's so shocking, so shocking to know that we've lost such a talented young star so soon. A lot of people, it's come as a big blow to the film industry in Karnataka, undoubtedly. In fact, his daughter was in the United States. She's just landed. She's inside right here where I'm standing there. Inside is Puneeth Rajkumar's daughter, who's getting a last glimpse of her father. It's really heart-wrenching because Puneeth Rajkumar was so close to both his daughters. His ritual was every day, almost every other day, he would come back from work and take his daughters for a drive in his car. So he had a fancy for cars. He loved his cars. He loved his workouts. He loved his food. There were some things that he had an absolute weakness for, and that was, of course, one, his family, his cars, and his food. Let's not even get to the workout part of it. He was one of the fittest stars in the industry, which is why it comes as a massive blow to us that a man so fit could go too soon. I have with me Mahesh Babu. He is the man who's directed two of Puneeth Rajkumar's super blockbuster films, where Puneeth Rajkumar, literally scored 100 at the box office. Mahesh Babu here, absolutely upset, will give us a small glimpse into how he knew Puneeth over the years. We know you're upset, Mr. Babu, but unfortunately today we've lost him, and we'd like to hear some of those anecdotes that you could remember of Puneeth Rajkumar as he's passed today.
Actually, Puneeth sir is very down-to-earth person.
Yeah, we know that.
And a very simplicity person. And he gave a lot of respect to elders. And when come to the acting wise, he's a director artist. He never plan his character. He just do what director says. That is his plus point. He is good in dance. And basically he's a very good human being. Fast from 15 years, when I was doing my first movie, Akash, he only introduced me as a director to Kannada film industry. My first movie, Akash, his own banner. Really, because of Puneeth Rajkumar, I am here.
Sir, we know that a lot of people who got into the industry only because of Puneeth Rajkumar. In fact, he played the wingman for several budding actors and stars, which makes him almost like the Salman Khan of the South, they say, launching several stars. And that was the beauty of Puneeth Rajkumar, that he not only, of course, had the best of talent among all of the actors, he also encouraged other talent. He'd make sure that he would launch several talents in his production house, through his production house, and that's why you have a host of industry insiders who have absolute regards for Puneeth Rajkumar, isn't it? How many of them has he launched, sir?
Sir, actually, I am the first director. He launched
actors,
this banner.
In terms of actors.
Actors, he introduced so many people. Recently, he started PRK Productions to introduce a lot of young directors, young talented directors, and young heroes. Actually, my knowledge, he produced more than 10 movies.
Right.
Still, 5 movies is going on set.
I know, we can imagine, which is why one can only imagine the kind of rush inside the stadium. If I can ask my director there to cut across to the visuals that you see here from inside Kanteerava Stadium, it's absolute mayhem. And let me tell you, it's a weekend here, and people have, and this was deliberately done. The government decided to give a state honor farewell for Puneeth Rajkumar and have his body kept at a stadium only because they anticipated the kind of crowds that would rush into the stadium, and which is why they needed such a huge space. In fact, I'm going to cut across to Pratibha Raman, who's right outside here at the Kanteerava Stadium, speaking to a bunch of fans there, and it's uncontrollable. Pratibha, over to you. What do you see right there? We know that fans are sobbing, a lot of them inconsolable, a lot of them celebrating his movies, of course, celebrating the fact that they've managed to be part of Puneeth Rajkumar's legacy over the years. Take us through what you see right behind you.
That's right. In fact, the line of fans standing over here runs up to at least the end of this road, and the traffic has been chock-a-block right outside Kanteerava Stadium right since last night. I have with me a huge number of fans, all of them raising slogans, hailing the actor. In fact, right since morning inside the stadium as well, we were hearing and listening to a lot of blockbuster songs of Puneeth Rajkumar, people dancing away. In fact, like you pointed out, Nabila, Puneeth Rajkumar has been known for his dance moves moves as well, and a fitness freak, of course. Let me actually go across to one such fan. Sir, Puneeth Rajkumar andre nimge hege ansate?
ಪ್ರಾಣ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಪ್ರಾಣ. ಪುನೀತ್ ರಾಜ್ಕುಮಾರ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬಡವರು ಶ್ರೀಮಂತರು ಗೊತ್ತೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅವರಿಗೆ. ಮೊನ್ನೆ ರಾಜ್ಕುಮಾರ್ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ಬಂತು ಮೊನ್ನೆ ಭಾನುವಾರ. ಆ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಎಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹತ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಿ ನಾನು. ಅಪ್ಪು ಅವರು ಬಡವರು ಶ್ರೀಮಂತರು ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅವರಿಗೆ. ಅಪ್ಪು ಅವರು ನಮ್ಗೆ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಆತ್ಮೀಯರಾದ್ರು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಶಿವರಾಮೇಗೌಡರು ಎಕ್ಸ್-MP ಅವರ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿ ಫ್ರೆಂಡು. ಅದರಿಂದ ಅವ್ರಿಗೂ ನಮಗೂ ಭಾಳ ಹತ್ತಿರದಲ್ಲಿದೆ ಮೇಡಮ್. ಬಹಳ ದುಃಖ ಆಯ್ತದೆ. ಅವರು ಸತ್ತವ್ರೆ ಅಂತ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಇನ್ನೂ ಇದಾಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ.
They are still reeling from shock after hearing or listening to the news of Puneeth Rajkumar's demise, and it's very hard for them to come to terms with what has really happened to Puneeth Rajkumar. Most of them seem to define the actor as one who has been extremely humble. In fact, he doesn't seem to be a superstar just on reel, but a superstar in real life as well. So, can you speak about Puneeth Rajkumar? So, Puneeth Rajkumar, superstar, andre beri films allilla, but real life allu superstar antira.
Idi world alle avaru number superstar. ಮೈಸೂರಲ್ಲಿ ಅನಾಥರ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಮೈಸೂರಲ್ಲಿ ಅನಾಥರ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ರುದ್ರಾಶ್ರಮ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಗೋಶಾಲೆ ಇರ್ಬೋದು. ಈಗ 1.5 ಹತ್ರ ನಾವು ಟಿವಿಲಿ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಮಕ್ಕಳುಗಳು ಅಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. ಅವರು ಹಾಡು ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಂಡು ತುಂಬಾ ಅಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. ನಾನು ಅವ್ರ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಫ್ಯಾನು. ಒಂದ್ಸಲ ಕೈಲೆಲ್ಲ ಅಣ್ಣ ಹೆಸರೆಲ್ಲ ಹಾಕ್ಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಾನೆಲ್ಲ ಬಂದೆ, ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಎಲ್ಲ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಫುಲ್ಲು ನಮ್ಮ ಊರಿಂದ ಕನಕಪುರದಿಂದ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀನಿ.
He seems to have tattooed his hand with the name of Puneeth Rajkumar here. So that's the extent of adulation that we witness at Kanteerava Stadium with respect to the fans who have gathered to see the last glimpse of Puneeth Rajkumar. So ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿ Puneeth Rajkumar.
ಯುವರತ್ನ ಮಾಡಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಅವರು ತುಂಬಾ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಮನಸ್ಸಿಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಹತ್ರ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ರು. ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅವರು ತುಂಬಾ ಬಾಲ್ಯ ನಟ. ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ 3 ವರ್ಷದಿಂದ ಫಿಲ್ಮ್ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿಗೆ ಬಂದು ಅವರ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ರಾಜ್ಕುಮಾರ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರು ತುಂಬಾ ಫೇಮಸ್. ಅವ್ರ ಜೊತೆನೂ ಆಕ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬರಿಗೂ ಅವರು ಮನಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಉಳಿದಂಗೆ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಈಗ. ಅವರು ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬರ ಮನಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಉಳಿಯೋ ಕಾರಣ ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ಅವರು
has actually gathered a very, very special place in everyone's hearts, and that is what I'm gathering here from everyone. ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿ Puneeth Rajkumar.
ಪುನೀತ್ ಸರ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಇಷ್ಟ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಚಿಕ್ಕ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಂದಾನು ತುಂಬಾ ಇಷ್ಟ ಪಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅವರು ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ನಂಬೋಕೆ ಆಗ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಇವನ್ ನನ್ನ ಕಾಲೇಜ್ ಬಿಟ್ಟರು ಬೇಗ ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ನಮ್ಗೆ ನಂಬೋಕೆ ಆಗ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ರು ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ. ಇವನ್ ನನ್ನ ತಮ್ಮನಿಗೂ ನಮ್ಮ ಡ್ಯಾಡಿ ಹೆಸರಿಕ್ಕಿದ್ರು ಅಪ್ಪು ಅಂತ. He's the big fan of my dad. Nam daddy tumba ishtapadtare Puneeth Rajkumar.
All of them big fans of Puneeth Rajkumar. In fact, several of them have actually abandoned their work, abandoned their colleges and come here to catch a last glimpse of their favorite actor, icon even of Sandalwood. Back to you, Nabila.
Well, let me quickly introduce our panelists here. Of course, joining us is Sumalata, who's an actor herself. Through the years, she's seen Puneeth Rajkumar's career graph, and she's had very great proximity and equations with him. We also have Arshika Punacha and Bhuvan, both actors in their own right, who worked very closely with Puneeth Rajkumar. I'll start with Ms. Sumalata. Ma'am, here is Puneeth Rajkumar, who's left us too soon. We're so gutted to hear that. We know the kind of proximity you and Amrish sir had with him over the years. Seen him grow, seen him flourish as one of the top actors in Karnataka, and the man who was so fit. It's so hard to stomach the fact that he died of a heart attack, a cardiac arrest. He was absolutely fine the night before. He had a conversation at length with actors like Ramesh Arvind, Rachita Ram. They claimed how he was at a birthday party with them. He did not eat too much. He in fact went home early. He did not touch sweets because he's careful about his diet. For a man like that to go so soon, it's so hard to believe. How are you taking it?
It's absolutely heartbreaking, Nabila, for us, because I have seen Puneeth, since when he was 4 or 5 years old. That was the first time, I had met Puneeth on the sets of my movie with his father. In fact, their family is the one which introduced me to the Kannada film industry, so I owe a lot to that family. And Puneeth is somebody who's very, very close to us. Very close and very, very loved by Amrish and myself. So this has come as an absolute shock, because he's just 46, and you don't expect a 46-year-old a man who's so fit, so much into exercise, gymming, and he was absolutely fine. He was absolutely perfect, and one doesn't. I don't know how to process this. We are all in shock, and it's so painful. this is, the last thing you expect and the last thing you want. And I think the Kannada film industry has been thrown into, total darkness about this, because everybody is in shock and pain, and we aren't able to digest the fact that Appu, our beloved Appu, who's so well loved by everybody, he's no more. He was such a simple soul, so down to earth, so humble, no airs, no arrogance, nothing that would suggest that he's the great thespian's son, or he himself was such a big star. And you can see the kind of love he's earned, the lakhs and lakhs of fans thronging just to have a last glimpse of him. And he was taken away so soon, so at such a young age. It's unbelievable. We are not able to fathom this at all. I don't know what to say. We are all in shock.
For Puneeth, it was not. No, I know. I can imagine, because Puneeth was a family member to almost everyone, because Rajkumar family itself is the first family of the Kannada film industry. So for every single person who came along as actors in the film industry, Dr. Rajkumar's family came as an immediate, a ready-made family to them. And they were so wholehearted about it. They welcomed every star into the family like their own family member, encouraged them, gave them all the push that they needed. And Puneeth Rajkumar particularly, being the youngest of them, the three brothers, happened to be the brightest of them all, if I could say. Of course, even Shivarna, we know Shivraj Kumar, a fabulous actor, but we know that Puneeth Rajkumar was just an all-rounder. He would sing, he would dance, he would act, he would do action scenes. He was just an all-rounder who we still can't get over. Even now, we still, in fact, fans we saw inside, ma'am, sobbing. They were sobbing so hard. I can only imagine on every one of Puneeth Rajkumar's birthdays, they come and sit outside, they camp outside his house with cakes. Puneeth would patiently meet all of them, one after the other, cut all those cakes along with them, and spend his entire birthday only with his fans. He somehow felt that his identity was his fans all the way. And that's why the kind of reciprocation, when we see the flowing crowds that you see inside the Kanteerava Stadium. You had actors from all over coming down into Bengaluru as well. Yeah, how do you look at it, ma'am? Puneeth Rajkumar as an all-rounder.
He was extremely approachable. He never behaved like he was a big star. I think he had imbibed his father's qualities to the core, because, his father was so well known for his simple ways and, the approachable, lovable quality, what his father had. Puneeth was the same. And, for all of us who are missing Dr. Rajkumar, we could see him in Appu, And he was the perfect all-rounder, as you said. He could sing, he could dance, he was fit, he was a good actor. He had delivered great performances and super-duper hits throughout his career. He was a perfect husband. I've never seen him come out anywhere without Ashwini. Both were like so much into each other. And he was a great father. I mean, I would say that I don't know how to explain this or how to reconcile with this loss, especially, one cannot face the family. I was not able to look Ashwini in the eyes at all, because I know exactly what she's going through. I can exactly, relive the pain one goes through when you lose, your most important person in life. And Puneeth is somebody, my God, the whole industry is going to miss terribly, terribly for forever, if not for a long time. And I feel, I don't know, I'm so scared to get up and answer the phones nowadays, because one doesn't know, what kind of news you're going to hear. We have already lost so many youngsters in the span of 1 year in the Kannada film industry, whether it was
Chiranjeevi Sarja in the recent past. Chiranjeevi Sarja in the recent past. Yeah.
Yes. And, this
in
is
fact,
totally...
I'd like to ask you this all-important question since Since you're someone who has had a successful acting career, Amrish as well, a mega star in Karnataka that he was, eventually transitioned into politics. Puneeth Rajkumar had loads of opportunities. In fact, Dr. Rajkumar, his father itself had. He was invited into political parties several times, but somehow the Dr. Rajkumar family managed to stay away from the political hustle. Puneeth Rajkumar could have easily done it. He would have managed to win a seat like that with a snap of his finger with the kind of fan base he has. But he very consciously stayed away from it. What was your conversation with him? You're an MP now and you've managed to fabulously win from your constituency, an independent MP. How did Puneeth Rajkumar encourage you, and what was his notion of politics? Was he ever interested in getting into it, and what was his thought behind it?
I don't think we ever discussed politics. Puneeth was somebody who was very passionate about movies. He was totally into watching world cinema. He loved the kind of movies that were being made, the kind of advances being made in the movie industry everywhere in the world, not just in our country. And he had this home theater built according to his likes, and he would watch movies non-stop. That much I know about him. And he would always discuss movies. We were more into discussing, new age cinema, world cinema, Korean cinema, award-winning movies, in fact. So he was more into that side. He had his priorities very straight. I don't think he ever entertained the option of entering politics at all. But at the same time, he was very supportive of me. He knew what I had gone through and what challenges I had faced. And he would message me. He would WhatsApp me quite frequently. And he was the first one to respond immediately wherever he was, however busy he was, if I messaged him with something. And he was very graceful, very simple-hearted, very, very straightforward, very down-to-earth, grounded kind of a person. And it's like, a big chunk from our heart, has been just cut away today. It's so painful. It's really painful. I can't tell in words how pained we all are at this.
Well, ma'am, I'd like you to please stay with us. I'm going to quickly cut across. We have said this time and again that Puneeth Rajkumar has played such an integral role, not just as an actor, but also as an individual in many of the actors' careers. I have with me Harshika Purnacha, who's also a star herself. She's acted with Puneeth Rajkumar. Harshika, your take on Puneeth Rajkumar. We saw you sobbing yesterday. I know that you're really upset and disappointed. But today, as we remember Appu, how would you remember him?
All I want to say is, Nabila, we miss him, and we will always miss him. I was just watching Jackie, the film in which we both acted together. And I started sobbing when I saw him because, I started recollecting all the memories that we had during the shoot. And he was such a wonderful person. Like I mentioned previously, he even gave me his vanity van. He asked me to use it. He said, I don't use it. Harshika, you can go ahead and use it. The vanity van is just there and you can, make use of it whenever you want. He was such a humble and such a nice person. I don't think we will ever get a person like him again. We miss you, Appu sir. And, everyone's writing on social media, please come back, please come back. And that's what even I want to say. Please come back, Appu sir.
In fact, we know the kind of career graph that Puneeth Rajkumar has had. I'd really like to go over as we remember Puneeth Rajkumar today, and as I am standing right here at the Kanteerava Stadium, you see a huge police security, a huge massive presence here because one does not want chaos, and the state government here has come up with all preparations just to ensure that the situation is under control. In fact, Puneeth Rajkumar's daughter is right inside the Kanteerava Stadium. She's come down from the United States. She has she was devastated is what we hear from the visuals that we see. She was sobbing all through the way, and she's come down. She was very attached to her father, and therefore you have a huge police presence because there are thousands of people inside the stadium and thousands outside, literally crowded on all four corners of the stadium here. I'm going to cut across Puneeth Rajkumar, the man who was dubbed as the power star. The only reason he was called as a power star was because of the kind of strength and the endurance he had, the action sequences that literally drove audiences crazy, his dance moves, his acting prowess, all that was in display on at least 29 films of his. Dr. Rajkumar's son, almost like a reincarnation of Dr. Rajkumar, Puneeth Rajkumar was. I'd like to show you a small profiling of Puneeth Rajkumar here on India Today as we remember Appu.
Puneeth had a close bond with his father, Dr. Rajkumar. He was a legend to the world. But for Puneeth and his siblings, he was a loving father who ensured he spent quality time with all his children. Puneeth also shared a very special bond with all his siblings as well. His two elder brothers, Rajkumar and Raghavendra, are also popular Kannada actors. The Rajkumars were clearly a very close-knit family. They celebrated festivals together. They acted in several films together. And the loss of Puneeth is something the family perhaps will never be able to overcome. Every co-star, every friend, every family member described Puneeth as a humble, simple, down-to-earth person who did everything he could to help people in need.
It's really sad. I mean, the entire family is humble, nice, down-to-earth, and I had real offer to work with Puneeth as well, but somehow we didn't work together. But still, this news, being a 46-year-old young guy, I mean, it's really, really shocking and sad.
True superstar. He was very generous, very kind, and very, very passionate about his work. It was a memorable experience being a part of his project.
It's the end of an era in Sandalwood, and the nation mourns the loss of another superstar gone too soon. Bureau Report, India Today.
Watching that really makes my heart break, and not just me. This is an absolute loss for people across the film industry itself. I'm not just talking about Karnataka, because the kind of contribution that Puneeth has made to cinema itself, he always believed that cinema never had a language. It cuts across borders, because cinema is all about the emotion, the acting, and of course the subject, the storyline of it, and you'll understand just watching a movie without even understanding a language. Puneeth Rajkumar, let me tell you, has given so much to Kannada language and Kannada culture that possibly no other actor has given. He stayed so focused and so true to the industry in Karnataka only because he knew that maybe moving away from the industry and diversifying into other industries like maybe Bollywood, he got opportunities in the past. He got opportunities in several other South industries, including Malayalam, Tamil, Telugu, but he more or less denied them because he wanted to stay focused in Karnataka. He was so loyal to his language. And that's what he did through and through. Bhuvan also joining us for more. Bhuvan, you're an actor. Puneeth Rajkumar is a man who most of you have looked up to. Being a non-actor, I've looked up to him because of the kind of fitness levels, his endurance, his charm, and of course his acting prowess. How has he influenced you as an actor today?
First of all, my condolences to his family, and I pray to God that God gives them the power to handle all this. I'm in shock, Nabila, and I still cannot believe that I'm talking to you about Puneeth sir not being here. So I'm in shock. For me, he has been an inspiration, not just on screen, off screen as well, because, he was a person who did so much for people and nobody knew about it. Not the media, not the actors, and nobody knew about it. And once, I was in a village and, doing some small social work, and the people come and tell me he's built houses for us, he's built rivers for us, he's done everything for us. I was shocked and I didn't know about it. And also, the first time, my fond memory of meeting Puneeth sir is that, the first time when my first movie was about to release, I went to his house asking him to, release one of the trailers of the cinema. We were supposed to see him at 11:15 and we were inside the house. He came at 11:22, okay? He comes into the room saying, sorry, late aito. And I'm like, this is Puneeth Rajkumar coming in saying sorry to us, sits with us. We show him the teaser, says, I want to see more rushes, watches all the rushes. It's almost like, 12:15 by then, says, why don't you guys have lunch and go? And me and my directors, we were like, okay. And he says, no, you have to have lunch and go. That's the tradition of the Rajkumar family. And he made us, have such wonderful food, sent us back from there. And from then on, I tried to follow him with his performances, with his dance, and especially, more importantly, off the screen. Like, trying to be there for people, trying to help people as much, and, trying to do stuff without anybody knowing about it. And one thing I've observed about Puneeth sir is that, he's loved by everybody. We say that, stars are loved by everybody, but he's loved by everybody in the industry. He's loved by people outside, like in grandmothers, mothers, children, old people, youngsters, everybody.
Yeah.
And
he managed to appeal to all age groups, and that was what was fascinating about him.
Yes, and I was watching some visuals on India Today, and I see a grandma sitting and crying, a grandma in the queue of lakhs of people who are walking into that, just to have a glimpse of Mr. Puneeth Rajkumar. A grandma is in between, struggling to go there and, have a glimpse. We don't see that with all the actors. We see that, youngsters are coming out whistling, screaming and doing all such stuff. But when a grandma can come, when a grandma of, his grandmother's age comes out all the way from a different village.
I totally agree with you. You have, in my own household, Bhuvan, I have people of all generations very, very fond of Puneeth Rajkumar. In fact, Puneeth knew me very well. I had a great equation with Puneeth. He knew my mum so well. He had such a fondness for my mother. Always would ask me, how's my mother doing? Would always ask me how I'm doing. When I moved to Delhi, he wished me all the best, saying, Nammudgi allogidale, tumba olledagli. The kind of motivation that he gave me as a journalist. I can only imagine how he's touched several other lives. I'm sure that there's every single person who has at least a single tale to tell about Puneeth Rajkumar. I'm going to quickly cut across to Sumalata, who's of course going to tell us a little about the equations that she's had with the family. Furthermore, more importantly, the kind of bond that Shiv Rajkumar, Puneeth Rajkumar's brother, had with Puneeth, because we understand that both of them were the closest. More than brothers, they were the best of friends. Both of them are superstars, huge actors in the Kannada film industry. And like Bhuvan rightly said, Puneeth, Shiv Rajkumar, Shivanna as they call him, did not have any animosity with possibly any actor in the industry, even though there was a lot of talk about a Sudeep camp, a Puneeth camp, a Yash camp, all sorts of speculation that fans make up. But when Puneeth would meet any actor, he would give them such a warm welcome, all that is forgotten, or rather it looked like there was nothing at all. It was just rumors. Puneeth would prove every critique wrong. He was so humble, such a fabulous soul that we've lost, and that's why I want to remember him in all the goodness of him that we have today. Let me quickly cut across before I go to Ms. Sumalata, to Pratibha there, who are hordes of fans who are waiting right outside, to wanting to sing a song of Puneeth Rajkumar. Let's give them a chance today.
Right, okay. There are so many people who have been raising slogans in hailing Puneeth Rajkumar, and let me see if I can actually get a fan to sing a song maybe of Puneeth Rajkumar. Yadadondu hard or dialogue. Okay, dialogue it is.
ಪಟಾಕಿ ಯಾರದಾದ್ರೆ ಹಚ್ಚೋರು ನಾವಾಗಿರಬೇಕು.
ಪಟಾಕಿ ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ಹಚ್ಚೋ ನಾವಾಗಿರಬೇಕು. Okay. What about you, sir? What about Puneeth Rajkumar that you like?
ತುಂಬಾ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಮನುಷ್ಯ. ಅವರು ಫಿಲಂ ಹೀರೋ ಅನ್ನೋದಲ್ಲದೆ ಸಾಮಾಜಿಕವಾಗಿ ಬಡವರು, ಕಣ್ಣಿಲ್ದೇ ಇರೋರು, ಇಂಥವ್ರಿಗೆಲ್ಲ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಮ್ಮಂತ ಯುವಕರಿಗೆಲ್ಲ ಅವರು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಮಾರ್ಗದರ್ಶನ.
Been an inspiration for everyone, an inspiration for all newcomers, not just in the industry, but an inspiration for every youngster standing here. So, ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಒಂದು ಹಾಡು ಪುನೀತ್ ರಾಜ್ಕುಮಾರ್ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು?
ಪುನೀತ್ ರಾಜ್ಕುಮಾರ್ ಸಾಂಗ್ಸ್ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಎಲ್ಲ ಸಾಂಗ್ಸ್ಗಳು ಸೂಪರ್ ಹಿಟ್ಟೆ, ಬಟ್ ತುಂಬಾ ಕಾಡಿದ ಹಾಡುಗಳು ಕೆಲವೊಂದಿದಾವೆ. ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನ ಡೆಡಿಕೇಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ, ಅವ್ರು ಚಿಕ್ಕವರಿದ್ದಾಗ ತುಂಬಾ ಸಾಂಗ್ಸ್ ನಂಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಇಷ್ಟ. ಅದು ನೋಡ್ಕೊತಾನೆ ಬೆಳೆದಿದ್ದು ನಾವು. ಬಾನದಾರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸೂರ್ಯ ಜಾರಿ ಹೋದ, ಚಂದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಬಂದ, ಮಿನುಗುತ್ತಾರೆ ಎಂದ, ನೋಡು ಎಂತ ಚಂದ, ರಾತ್ರಿ ಆಯ್ತು ಮಲಗು ನನ್ನ ಪುಟ್ಟ ಕಂದ, ನನ್ನ ಪುಟ್ಟ.
Thank you. So that was a Puneeth Rajkumar song, all of them remembering him fondly. A very poignant moment today. Back to you, Nabila.
Right, Pratibha. I mean, we know that people are really grieving at this moment, to even enjoy his memory. I think it's too soon to ask. Let me go cut across to Ms. Sumalata. Sumalata, here you have beg your pardon, you have Shivanna and Puneeth Rajkumar, who shared such a special bond that you seldom see two brothers share. They were more like friends, we understand, and what we worry more is of actually Shivanna right now and how he's doing. Did you meet with the family? Did you have a conversation with them? We hear that you were also inside the stadium right a little while ago. What did you see? How are they taking it?
No, I had met them yesterday itself. In fact, I had gone over to the Appu's house. I had met Shivanna and I had met Ashwini, and it's extremely painful. Of course, they are in shock, and I don't think they've been able to assimilate this fact as of yet. And it's not fair on anybody's part to expect them to also. But Shivanna has to take on the role of, in the absence of both their parents, he is the eldest, and I think Appu being the youngest, he's been like a favorite for all the brothers, not just Shivanna, whether it's Raghavendra or the sisters. And I remember Parvatama herself, till the end, whenever we saw them at any event, any function, wherever he was leaving or she would leave earlier, she would make a point to kiss him on his forehead and say, bye to him before he left. So it was very moving and touching for us to witness the bond he shared with his mother and the whole family, in fact. And I have very fond memories of Appu. Though we used to interact very often on WhatsApp and text and meet each other in different functions. I think my everlasting memory was last year when we met at a dinner, and he sang a song for me from my movie with Dr. Rajkumar, and it was a duet song which he had sung for me, and I think that is one of the sweetest memories. And I would like to remember Appu that way, simple, lovable, and so grounded and down to earth. That's how I would like to remember our beloved Appu.
For us, we'd really love to hear it.
Pardon, I didn't get that.
I said, would you be able to sing that song for us? I don't know if it's too much to ask, but we'd really love to hear that song from you.
And sorry, Nabil, I don't think we are in the frame of mind also. I don't know. Maybe later, but not now. But that's how I remember Appu. I'd like to remember him that way. Simple and sweet.
Today we hear that the daughter has come down from the United States, and she's in fact right inside, and she's not taking it too well. She's so shattered. Would you be able to give us an insight into kind of an equation that Appu shared with his daughters? We heard he would take them for a drive every other night. He had a great fancy for cars, so he'd often take them for a drive after he came back from work. A total family man he was.
Appu was a family man, out and out. He was a family man. That's what I'm saying. I've never seen him enter any dinner, any party, any function without, Ashwini next to him. And definitely he was very, very close to his daughters as far as I could see. And, generally, daughters are closest to the fathers. They have a special place in the father's heart. So I can't imagine what they are going through, really. And my heart goes out to his daughters. And, words will not suffice. Whatever you speak to them or, condole or console, it's never going to be enough. This is a pain which they'll have to endure and learn to live with by themselves.
Right. Ma'am, stay with us. A quick word from Harshika on that. Harshika, I don't know if what kind of memories you have when it comes to Appu's fitness levels, but it's really worrying that, young actors who are so fit are exercising on a regular basis, a daily routine for himself. In fact, he passed away also not sure if at the gym he collapsed and passed away immediately, but he collapsed at the gym, and that's when he was rushed to the hospital. This is scary because as an actor, there's so much pressure on you to look great, to be fit, to be slim, to be toned, and to have a strict fitness regime and a diet regime. Does this scare you?
Of course, Nabila, it does scare me because, like you rightly said, Appu sir has been a fitness freak, and we've all followed him for the way he has maintained himself, the way he looks, the way he dances, the way, his whole body type. Everyone used to say he's not someone who's got a six pack, or he's not someone who's got huge shoulders. Not like that. He's got like a perfect body. And every time, like Sumlata ma'am said, sir used to either discuss about movies or it is about the fitness. I remember every time I spoke to him, sir told me, "Good, Harshika, you've lost so much weight. What are you eating? What's your diet plan? Maybe you should skip this. Maybe you should start taking this." These are the conversations which I often had with Puneeth sir. And I don't know, even now I'm unable to digest that someone who's been so fit, who's been so conscious, and like you mentioned initially, that even at the party last night, he didn't touch sweets. And I heard this from many told me that he didn't even touch sweets. And he's being so conscious, he's been so health conscious. I don't know why God has been so unkind on him. And like ma'am said, my heart goes out to the family. I just hope they have the strength to take this. And I really, my heart really goes to Ashwini ma'am.
Harshika, speaking of the diet part of it, a quick word. There's a lot of talk about how it could be possible that some of them who want to build a strong, a fit body would maybe think of taking steroids. But for whatever I knew, Appu, whatever personal equation that I had with him, I knew that he was a man who was all for clean eating, clean food. Did you know of any kind of hardcore regime that he followed, which may have involved any kind of steroids at all?
Nothing at all. Once I remember I asked him, sir, is it right? Because there are many people who say, they want to prepare for a film and they take in steroids. And then he said, Harshika, from my first, from the time I started my career till now, I've never ever tried all those things. It's always been food for me. I always have healthy food. I have protein with the food. Not even, I don't think he would even take a lot of protein shakes. I believe Appu sir telling me that he would depend on chicken, eggs, and these kind of proteins which comes directly from food, and not the artificial ones. So I really don't think he was into that thing.
Okay, great. So that's straight. Then that's set on record now. In that case, if any speculation was that Appu was doing anything synthetic or artificial that could have triggered this, it's false, and that's what I know of it. And now that you've put on record, we know very well, because I know the kind of weakness that Appu had for food. He was always all about food, and we know, like Ms. Sumalata also very clearly mentioned, the Rajkumar family is all about feeding anybody who comes to their house, and they such great hosts, which is why it really hurts. It hurts so hard if you're from the state of Karnataka, or if you followed the Kannada film industry at all, even remotely, in whichever part of the country you're seated, and if you watch movies even dubbed in your respective language, you would have definitely seen Appu and be charmed by his entire persona. The dance moves, I just can't explain the kind of aura that he had every time he walked into the room. And quickly cut across to Pratibha there. A final word from Pratibha and the fans right behind her. All of them wanting to sing a song. Pratibha, are they ready now? Let's hear it from them.
Right, Nabila, in fact, like you started the show, Puneeth Rajkumar is not just fondly called Appu or Power Star, but he's also called Rajkumara. In fact, one of his films is also known as Rajkumara, and all of them wanting to sing a song from the same film, right? Can you go? 1, 2, 3, start.
Neene Rajkumara Vasa Belakandu Vasilige Bantu Belagide Maneya Kanteerava Aaradisu Janamanu Aadisiye Nodu Beedisiye Nodu Indu Soladu Sotu Taleya Bagadu Mumbe Helutaite Matte Helutaite Neene Rajkumara.
Well, I hope Rajkumara is actually listening to them from up above. Back to you, Nabila.
You know, Pratibha, the heavens are brighter today. I'm sure you'd agree with me, Ms. Sumalata. The heavens are brighter today. Puneeth Rajkumar, if anything, is possibly looking down and maybe feeling happy that he did everything that he wanted to do. He lived his life to the fullest. And just the fact that the man was so giving, I think he'll be resting in peace today.
I'm sure he is. But we, the Kannada film industry and the Indian film industry, has lost one of our brightest stars.
Yeah. Ms. Sumalata, thank you very much, Ms. Sumalata, for joining us and taking your time. Bhuvan, a quick word from you. I know that this is heart-breaking because all of you are looked up. And I know for a fact that Puneeth was so into promoting new talent, young talent. He was putting his money into several movies as a producer, not wanting to be featured in that film. It was just that he wanted to further the Kannada film industry and encourage new talent. For a man like that who's gone, because there are very few like him today in any industry for that matter. What would you say on a final note?
Absolutely, Nabila. We say few gems are irreplaceable, and I think he's going to be one of them, similar to Mr. Shankar Nag, who we lost at a very young age. And it'll be very hard to, fill his space. But again, if you're talking about the kind of films that he was producing, in fact, I think a couple of days back, when we met him, he had told me that he's going to be. He has a particular subject in mind. There's a director who's approached him, and he thinks that I'm going to be, absolutely suitable for that particular character, and he's going to be producing a film for me. And today, and also discussing about, as Matt said, world cinema, and he has big dreams for the Kannada industry, and not just for himself. That's the most important thing I'm trying to tell you here, is that he looked at the Kannada industry. He wanted the Kannada industry to be as big as any other industry out there. So, he had such big dreams, and today, it's so hard to even, relate to the fact that he's not here anymore. And, we've lost a person who could bring about huge changes to our industry as a whole. So,
that's what you said. He wanted the industry to grow. It was not about him at all. It was never just about him. It was all about the Kannada film industry on the whole, and that's why we salute the Rajkumar family and Puneeth Rajkumar here today, who's gone too soon, for all that he's contributed to the world of Kannada cinema, the Kannada language, the culture of Karnataka. We love him, we miss him, and he'll forever live on in our memory. Through all his films, 29 films, exceptional ones, one after the other. You could sit down and watch them. You'll never get bored. Trust me, he could give any young actor a run for their money because of the kind of talent he had. An all-rounder, an exceptional human being. Here's the heartiest condolences going out to him, his family members here today from India today. Thank you very much, Ms. Sumalata, Ms. Harshika Punnacha, as well as Bhuvan joining us for more on that. We're going to continue tracking all the developments here from the Kanteerava Stadium right behind me. His cremation will be taking place with full state honours tomorrow. We're going to take you through that right from the morning. Do stay tuned to India Today. For now, thank you very much for watching.